Hey guys, so like I said earlier today, I'm going to work on filling in the rest of the unit circle. So what I've done so far right now is I've just drawn my unit circle and I have my three main angles here. Now, what you don't want to forget is that the axes are also part of your angles, right? So if we're going to label this axis here, it's 0 degrees or 0 pi. Now we're going to come back to that because when we loop back around, it's also going to be 360 degrees and 2 pi. So then we come here, we have 30 and pi over 6. We have 45 and pi over 4. And we have 60 and pi over 3. Now, the first thing I like to do is I kind of like to write up in the upper right-hand corner is basically I count to 3, 1, 2, 3, take the square root and cut them all in half, right? And the reason why I do this is because these are all of my x and y's, right? So when I'm going around these angles here and I'm flip-flopping over to here, these are going to be my x and y's. So we first start off. Now the trick is we always start with the y because the y is the opposite side to the angle. So small angle, opposite side would be the short side, so that'd be 1/2. That means that the other one needs to be square root of 3 over 2. We go to 45. Now in 45, it's a 45-45 triangle, so both angles are going to be the medium. I mean, not both angles, sorry. Both sides are going to be the medium. Then we go to 60 degrees, and we start with the opposite side, so 60 is the large. The opposite side would then also be the large, so the y would be square root of 3 over 2, and this would be 1/2. Okay, so this pattern is going to happen, and we're just going to basically kind of copy and paste it and flop it over, right? So let's not forget about the axes here. So the axis also has an angle. Now this is 90 degrees, or because it's a quarter of the quarter of a circle, and a full circle is 2 pi, this would be pi over 2. Okay. Now, we didn't label the axis here or here yet. So if we think about it, it's a radial arm of 1, right? So if it goes out 1, then it's going to be 1 comma, and it didn't go anywhere off the x-axis, so y would be 0. So it's 1 comma 0. Up here, it's at y equals 1, and it's on the y-axis, so x is 0 and y is 1. All right, so now that we've done this full quarter unit circle, now we're just kind of going to flip-flop everything over. So I'm going to draw essentially a mirrored image from the other side, okay? So if you think about it, we're kind of counting by 30s, except for 45, right? We're counting by 30s, 30, 60, 90, then you get 120, right? After 120, we get 150, and then we have 180, okay? So remember that. So you're counting by 30s, 30, 60, 90, 120, 150, 180, right? For 45s, doing 45, 90, then 90 plus 45 is what? 135, right? So this is 135. Okay? So really it's just like it's like an adding game here. So the same thing kind of goes with the pi's, right? So we're kind of counting by pi over 6. So this is 1 pi over 6, 2 pi over 6, 3 pi over 6, 6 pi over 6, 6 pi over 6, which reduced to what? So you got 6 over 9, divide both by 3, you get 2 pi over 3. That makes sense? So let's not forget. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pi over 6. It can't be reduced, so you just leave it. 5 pi over 6. Now look, this is the trick. Anytime you see any number times pi over 6, it's referring to a 30-degree angle from the horizontal, right? This technically is 150 degrees from here, but it's 30 degrees from here to here. And it's 45 degrees from here to here, and it's 60 degrees from here to here. So in retrospect, it still is kind of a 30-degree angle, right? It's just from the other side. Now we're measuring it going this way, so that's why it's 5 pi over 6. That over 6 is just saying it's 30 degrees off from this side here, okay? Now, this is the really easy part, okay? Oh, this is pi, right? Half a circle, the full circle is 2 pi, half of 2 pi is pi. So now we just need to kind of bring these numbers over. So these numbers right here are going to be the same numbers over here. So you're going to have square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2, right? But now you have to say, here's the y-axis, and we're above the x-axis. So if we're above the x-axis, my y is still positive. If I'm on the left of the y-axis, my x's are negative. So basically, we're rewriting this on this side and just making it negative for the x for this quadrant, quadrant 2. Okay, and then this one is negative 1/2, comma, square root of 3 over 2. Okay? Perfect. Okay, so let's keep going. We got 2 more quadrants to do. So again, we're going to draw these in. And I'm going to start doing the other side too. Speed this up. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to finish this all off. So remember, we're just counting. So let's start with the 30 degrees. So we were at 5 here, right? The y-axis, oh, we forgot to label that. So this is going to be negative 1, comma 0, right? We're just flipping this over and putting a negative for the x. So remember, this is 5, right? So we counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Don't forget the axis, that's 6. This one would be 7 pi over 6, which would be what degrees? Add 30 to this one, so you get what? 210. Okay, then we come here, add another 30 to that, we get 240. All right, now that's 8. 8 pi over 6. You can reduce that. I made a mistake in here, didn't I? Oops, it's okay. Well, we have to fix this one. This is 6 pi. This is 4 pi over, no, I did that right. Never mind. Okay, so we have 7 pi over 6. This is 8 pi over 6. So if we divide by 2, we get 4 pi over 3. Okay? Go again one more time. If this is 7, this is 8, this is 9, 9 pi over 3, 9 pi over 6. If you divide by 3, you get 3 pi over 2, okay? Which would then be, add 30 to this, you get 270, all right? Then we come over here. This is 4, so this is 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 divided by 2 is 5 pi over 3, because it would be 10 pi over 6. Add 30 to this one, we get 300. Okay, come to this one. This is 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Doesn't reduce, you get 11 pi over 6, right? Add 30 to this one, we get 330. And then obviously the 360 is here, okay? So with the 45s, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. 5 doesn't reduce, so we get 5 pi over 4, right? Look at how they're always, how 4 is always on the denominator every time we go to it. 6 is always on the denominator for all the 30s. 3 is on the denominator for all the 60s, okay? So we add 45 to 180, and we get 125. okay? So this is 5, this is 6, this is 7. So we have 7 pi over 4, okay? Add 45 to 270. So you would get 315. Okay? So now let's start just copying and pasting all these values. Now, the 30 degree is here, right? So this and this would come down to this one here. So this is going to be square root of 3 over 2, comma, 1/2. Now here's the thing. We're on the right side of the y-axis, but we're on the bottom side of the x-axis. So what's going to be negative? My y, right? So then we're just going to write these all over again. Negative square root of 2 over 2 here. Then we come here. We get 1/2 and square root of 3 over 2. So we're going to do 1/2 and negative square root of 3 over 2. Boom. Okay? And what about here? It's just the same thing. We're going to take this down. It's 0, comma, negative 1. Okay? Now, you can flip it over this way or you come down this way. It doesn't really matter. They're all the same thing. However, now we're on the left side and the bottom side, so they're both going to be negative in the third quadrant, right? Here's 1, here's 2, here's 3, and here's 4. Okay? So here are 4 quadrants. So let's fill this in here. So we have negative square root of 3 over 2, negative 1/2. Negative square root of 2 over 2, negative square root of 2 over 2. This one will have negative 1/2 and negative square root of 2 over 2. And you're done. You now have every single value for sine or cosine of all of these angles related to 30, 45, and 60, just a multiple of it. So if I said, what is the sine of 135 degrees? So if I say, what's the sine of 135 degrees? All I need to do is go to the y point of 135 degrees. So I go to 135 degrees. The y point is square root of 2 over 2. What if I asked you, what is the cosine of 5 pi over 6? Now, a trick is, if you can remember the first quadrant, I noticed the pi over 6 is 30 degrees, right? If it's ever something times pi over 6, you know it's referring to 30 degrees. So if I go to the cosine of 30 degrees, I can just remember square root of 3 over 2, right? Because that's the x coordinate of that. However, 5 pi means it's in a different quadrant. So if I look at this, it makes it in the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, it's actually negative square root of 3 over 2. So I put the negative there and I'm done. Okay? So you can apply this to any value of sine or cosine. Now, you can even do it to tangent, remember? So if I said, what is the tangent of 240 degrees? Well, remember, tangent is just sine 240, because it's that's the value inside, over the cosine of 240. Okay? So we go to 240, and we have to do the y over the x. So I have negative square root of 3 over 2 over negative 1/2, right? So what this becomes is negatives cancel out, and if you divide by a fraction, you multiply by the reciprocal, so I get square root of 3. Okay? So, guys, I want you to try to watch this video and then to complete a whole unit circle on your own and see if you can pick the sine or cosine of random selection of one of our degrees here and figure out what it is. All right. So we're going to go over this tomorrow. I'm going to kind of quiz everyone individually and ask them. And I'm going to ask each person individually 2 problems, and you have to know it on site. So everyone gets different problems, and you have to quickly answer the problem. So I don't care if you have your unit circle in front of you. If I ask you what is the sine of 180 degrees, you need to be able to tell me right away. So this needs to be completed and written down, and then you have to show me that you hand wrote everything out. Then you can use it when I ask you your 2 questions, okay? So please, everyone, watch this video for homework. I'll send out an email so that you'll get a notification to take a look. All right, guys, have a good night.